Hayden Panettiere was dead less than 24 hours after flying to South Carolina with her on-and-off boyfriend. But what happened during her final hours is raising disturbing questions. There was a mysterious 911 call, Narcan inside the apartment, and one detail about her boyfriend that's raising even more suspicion. Let me break it down. Here's the timeline. On August 15th, Hayden Panettiere jetted out of Los Angeles just one day before she died, flying to South Carolina with her on-again, off-again boyfriend Brian Hickerson. This wasn't a random trip. Panettiere had been in an on-off relationship with Hickerson, a South Carolina native, since 2018. He was flying her home. When they landed, she went to Brian and his brother's apartment at the Judson Mill Lofts complex in Greenville, a unit that Page 6 reported was actually an Airbnb, not a home, not a hospital, a short-term rental in a city she didn't live in. The next afternoon, everything changed. She was at the apartment when an unnamed female called 911 to report an emergency at the home at 1:51 p.m. And dispatch audio revealed operators spoke of someone in cardiac arrest, mentioning overdose and CPR in progress. Paramedics didn't wait around. Sources said paramedics tried to resuscitate Panettiere at the scene and provided advanced cardiac life support using medication, breathing tubes, and heart rhythm tracking. It wasn't enough. Medical assistance and CPR were administered at the scene by firefighters and Medic 24. But Panettiere was pronounced dead at 2:31 p.m. She was 36. Now here's where it gets tense. Police didn't just find Hayden alone. The responding officer spoke with two men at the apartment, identified as Panettiere's boyfriend Brian Hickerson, 37, and his brother Zach Hickerson, both of whom were in the apartment, and called 911 after finding Panettiere unresponsive. But the way the two brothers reacted couldn't have been more different. The incident report notes that Zach Hickerson appeared very emotional, while first responders worked on Panettiere, while Brian Hickerson did not become emotional until after she was officially declared deceased. Think about that for a second. The boyfriend of nearly 10 years, the man who flew her across the country, stood there while paramedics fought to save her life and didn't break down. Only after she was gone did anything register on his face, according to police. That detail alone has fueled a wave of theories online. Then there's the medication. The officer added in the report that Brian Hickerson showed them the bag of medication that Panettiere was taking. Officers also found something else in that apartment. TMZ broke the story that Narcan, an over-the-counter overdose treatment, was found in the apartment where Hayden died. Narcan doesn't show up in a home by accident. It shows up when someone is prepared for the possibility of an overdose. Investigators moved fast after that. Detectives with the Violent Crimes Unit and the coroner's office began actively investigating the death, and a search warrant was executed at the apartment, with the courtesy officer at Judson Mills advising that CCTV footage was available, showing all three individuals arriving and leaving the property. So within hours of Hayden Panettiere's death, you've got a Violent Crimes Unit involved, a search warrant executed, security footage pulled, Narcan on scene, and a boyfriend with a documented history that we're about to get into. That combination is exactly why the case didn't stay a routine death investigation for long. 3 days later, it escalated to a federal level. The Drug Enforcement Administration joined the investigation into the death of actress Hayden Panettiere, with the Greenville City Police Department serving as the lead investigative agency, while the DEA assists. TMZ reported that DEA agents would be assisting the parallel investigations currently underway by the Greenville County Coroner's Office and the Greenville Police Department. The DEA doesn't join a case just because someone had pills in a bag. It's still undetermined if narcotics contributed to Hayden's death. The coroner has said toxicology is pending, but DEA agents have seen enough clues pointing to potential drug use to join the investigation. That's federal law enforcement telling you, without saying it outright, that there's more here than a natural death. To understand why investigators are looking so hard at what happened inside that Greenville apartment, you need to understand who Brian Hickerson actually is and what Hayden had already told the world about him, months before she died. Throughout their time together, Hickerson faced multiple allegations of domestic violence against the hero's alum. This wasn't a rumor picked up after her death. It was documented. In 2019, Hickerson was arrested after an alleged confrontation with Panettiere. And then, in May of this year, just 3 months before she died, Hayden put it in writing herself. Her memoir, This Is Me, A Reckoning, didn't dance around what Hickerson had allegedly done to her. In the book, Panettiere wrote, "One night he busts up my face so badly I don't leave the house for weeks." She wasn't vague about the toll it took on her. Panettiere also wrote about the alleged physical abuse she suffered from Hickerson, saying she struggled with how to tell the story because she didn't want to be a spokesperson for domestic violence. She never wanted to call herself a victim, but there she was, and it was part of her story whether she wanted it to be or not. What makes this stranger is that after everything she wrote, she still got on a plane with him. According to reporting after her death, Brian Hickerson admitted that the star's detailed account of abuse was true, and Hayden herself had written that she'd forgiven him. She wrote that she forgave him after going through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, saying he also had a big heart full of pain, just like hers, and that she had love for him despite what he'd done to her. Feelings she knew she'd probably spend her whole life working through. So the man who was in the apartment when she died, who didn't visibly react until after she was declared dead, who showed police a bag of her medication, was the same man she had publicly accused of beating her so badly she couldn't leave her house for weeks. That's not a detail anyone can just glide past. Officially, though, the story from law enforcement stayed measured. Authorities said the case was under investigation by the Greenville Police Department in conjunction with the Greenville County Coroner's Office, and stated the preliminary investigation had not indicated any signs of foul play or suspicious circumstances. The autopsy backed that up on the surface. According to an autopsy completed by the Greenville County Coroner's Office on August 17, no signs of trauma were discovered that would have contributed to Panettiere's death. No trauma, no bruises, no obvious violence, but no trauma doesn't mean no danger. It just means whatever happened to her didn't leave marks, and that's exactly the kind of death that makes a violent crimes unit, a search warrant, and a federal drug agency all show up to the same address within 72 hours. There's also the matter of what Hickerson showed police the moment they walked in. He didn't wait to be asked. He pulled out a bag of Hayden's medication and handed it over. That's not necessarily suspicious on its own, but combined with the Narcan already found in the apartment, and combined with everything Hayden had written about him just months earlier, it paints a picture investigators clearly aren't ready to close the book on. There's one more detail worth sitting with. TMZ reported that the star had been suffering from back pain after flying into South Carolina. A cross-country flight, back pain, medication in a bag, Narcan on a shelf, and a man with a documented history of hurting her. All inside a rented apartment, all in the space of about 18 hours. Every one of those pieces is what pulled federal agents into a South Carolina coroner's case. To understand how Hayden Panettiere ended up in that Greenville apartment on the worst day of her life, you have to go back further than Brian Hickerson. You have to go back to when she was 8 months old. Panettiere started baby modeling at 8 months old and did her first commercial at 11 months old. It was militant, no questions asked, and she called herself a little soldier. By the time she was a teenager, the industry had already reshaped how she coped with pressure. At age 15, the actress claimed someone from her team began offering her happy pills before she would walk red carpets, meant to make her peppy during interviews. That early exposure to substances didn't stay in her teenage years. It followed her into adulthood, and it collided head-on with motherhood. She became addicted to Klonopin and alcohol shortly after her daughter's birth, she revealed in the memoir. The consequences were severe. It exacerbated her alcohol and drug addiction, and Klitschko sought full custody of their daughter, worrying about her being in Panettiere's care. While in rehab, she reluctantly signed over custody. She never stopped feeling that loss. She wrote that she remembered every second of that day, every single one, and that no mother could forget a single thing about the day she signed her child away. 3 years before her death, the losses compounded. Her younger brother, Jansen Panettiere, died in 2023 from an enlarged heart. He was 28 years old. Hayden later spoke candidly about the devastating impact of his death and the guilt she carried following his passing. In an interview after his death, she said plainly, "I will always be heartbroken about it." By this year, Hayden seemed to be trying to turn all of it, the addiction, the custody loss, her brother's death, the abuse, into something she controlled, rather than something that controlled her. In her candid memoir, released in May, Panettiere opened up about her rise to fame on-screen and the exploitation, addiction, postpartum depression, and domestic abuse she experienced off it. She'd also just wrapped a film comeback. Months before her death, she had described feeling ready to start over, and was making a comeback with her latest film released in January. That's what makes the timing of her death land so hard. She wasn't spiraling in public. She'd published the book, she'd done the press. She looked, from the outside, like someone stepping into a new chapter, right up until the flight to Greenville. So where does the investigation actually stand? As of now, officials haven't closed the door on any explanation. No cause or manner of death has been determined, pending the results of additional testing. And toxicology tests, which are standard in many death investigations, could take weeks to complete. The coroner has been careful with language, too. Panettiere's official cause and manner of death remain pending further investigation and the completion of additional studies, the coroner's office said. What we do know is that this didn't stay a local matter for long. A federal narcotics agency doesn't attach itself to a coroner's case over nothing. And the last time the DEA did this for a Hollywood name, the case ended in criminal convictions. The Los Angeles Police Department also teamed up with the DEA in 2023 after high levels of ketamine were found in Friends star Matthew Perry's system after he died at age 54. And the lengthy multi-agency probe led to 5 arrests and convictions, including 2 medical doctors and a supplier dubbed the Ketamine Queen for distributing the drugs that resulted in Perry's death. Nobody is saying Hayden Panettiere's case will end the same way. But the DEA doesn't send agents to Greenville, South Carolina, to babysit a routine natural death file. They send agents when there's a supply chain to trace, a source for whatever was in that bag of medication, or whatever was mixed with it. Toxicology results will tell investigators what was actually in her system when she died. Whatever they find, it will decide whether this becomes a story about grief and addiction, catching up with someone who spent her whole life fighting it, or a story about the people around her, in a rented apartment, on the last afternoon of her life. For now, the family has asked for space. In a statement, Panettiere's father asked for privacy, as our family takes time to process this unimaginable loss. Her tribute from her hero's co-star, Masi Oka, echoed what much of Hollywood was saying that week, that he was absolutely heartbroken to hear about Hayden. SAG-AFTRA, the union she'd belonged to since childhood, said simply, "We join in mourning the sudden passing of Hayden Panettiere. Our hearts are with her daughter, family, friends, and fans." The toxicology results haven't come back. The DEA hasn't closed its file. And the last people to see Hayden Panettiere alive are still the ones investigators are focused on.